What was your creepy unexplained experience as a child? When I was a child, my grandparents' house always creeped me out. I was terrified of the basement, and there was something off about the rest of the house. Once when I was 10, my mom and I were sleeping in my grandpa's bed. I couldn't sleep and I was facing the middle of the bed, so the back of my head was near the space between the bed and the wall/window. All of a sudden, I feel something poke the back of my head twice. I was petrified and froze, so I never turned my head to see what was poking me. To this day I don't know what could have happened, but I can still feel those pokes. It was late-ish at night and I heard a car crash outside my house. For some reason I had a gut feeling of who it was and told my parents, and I was right. It was a friend of the family that I had only met once years and years ago, and did not even live close to us. I have no idea if it was something more than being just the hugest coincidence guess in the world. From 5 to 6 years old, I would see a shadow figure, perfect human woman shape, walk the walls in the night, back and forth. It really creeped me out that I would just put the covers over my head. I was an only child and my parents were in their bedroom. It was when I was still wide awake way before I got sleepy. So creepy. My mom put me to bed in my room, but I woke up downstairs. I thought it was a dream, but some man picked me up when I was almost asleep, carried me downstairs and put me down on some blankets between a sofa and chair. I was quite young, so my parents still had a safety gate. My dad wasn't in, worked nights then, and my mom was asleep, so no one knows how I managed to get downstairs. I can still remember this now, strangely. Haven't told this one in a while. I was young, 5 to 7, somewhere in there. I was sleeping in between my parents for whatever reason. I woke up, I remember the clock reading around 4 a.m. There was something standing by the window, looking out into the front yard. It looked like a man in a brown wool robe, about 6 feet 4 inches or so. I started to stir and sat up in bed, and the thing turned and looked at me. Dear God, that face. Extremely pale white skin, lots of really pronounced wrinkles, and the face drooped like it was melting, down into a really pointy chin, almost similar to a scream mask but with all of the features of a living being. Its mouth was hanging open and its eyes were wide, almost like it was worried or frightened. It kept its gaze on me while it moved away from the window, in front of the bed, and out the open bedroom door. The second it exited the room, the lights turned on their own and both of my parents jumped up on either side of me, breathing heavily like they'd both just woken up from a nightmare. To be clear, I was fully able to move during this. I don't think it was sleep paralysis, but I'm not sure what it could have been other than some kind of demon or really fucking ugly ghost. I've never seen it since, but I can still picture it clear as day. I was out at our cabin in the remote mountainous wilderness of Colorado with my dad, and had to use the bathroom in the middle of the night. This necessitated a flashlight and shoes, because the outhouse was far away. There was no one but me and my dad for miles in any direction. So I thought. I suddenly heard voices in the distance and stopped in my tracks. It seemed to be coming from my right, deep in the woods in the middle of nowhere, a quarter of a mile from the road. Being 11 and unafraid of the world, I foolishly yelled, "Who's out there?" There was silence for a few seconds, then a shouted string of profanity so vulgar it terrified my virgin ears. I stood stock still for a moment like a terrified rabbit but heard nothing else, so I ran back to the house and woke my dad up. He got up, loaded his gun, and turned all the lights on, but we never heard another sound. To this day, we have not seen or heard another person within 15 miles of the cabin. What is the most embarrassing thing you've ever witnessed? I used to work in nightclubs. I once witnessed a girl leaning against a wall, casually flirting with a guy, and as she laughed she actually shit herself. She was wearing a white dress and there was no hiding what had happened. The smell actually cleared the whole level of the club. She ran out crying. We had to clean poo off the floor where she had been standing. I often wonder what she is doing now. Took my children and a cousin to a natural water park that was a river running through a valley that had worn its way into this smooth rock bed. It wore like marble. The water carried you along with natural slides and dips, great fun to ride down the river. You first had to walk up it, which was precarious in many places. The kid's cousin, D, wasn't the most confident guy, but I'd been doing lots of work with him to fix that, and we had done lots of swimming prior to this holiday to get him ready. I picked the safest route up and told the kids, "Only step where I show you, please." As D made his way I pointed, "Step there," pointing directly at a spot. "Do not go the other side." D stepped the other side. The water grabbed him, snatched him off his feet and down. Wiped his trunks off and they were gone. Suddenly D is flying new down this river. Atop the river on the hillside is a railed walking area. There were hundreds of people laughing and pointing down as this kid in the nip goes dashing by. I went to an educational seminar to learn the new laws related to my industry. This was being conducted in a hotel ballroom. There had to be at least 200 people in the room. I can't recall whether the presenters all sat up front, in the audience or a mix. This attorney gets to the podium and gets her papers together. She starts to talk, but can't get a recognizable word out and completely froze up while everyone is watching. Another attorney had to get up and do the presentation for her. I felt so bad for her. Public speaking is difficult for most people, and what happened to her had to be extremely embarrassing. I was on a high-end cruise line at dinner. An older lady got up to go to the bathroom but missed and pooped herself in the dining room entrance. She left her panties there and continued on to the bathroom. There was this kid in my high school that was taking karate classes. He decided he wanted to fight a kid that was bullying him after school in the town park. A shit ton of people went. He got all pumped up before the fight. Instantly, once the fight started, he began doing karate moves at the air. Once he reached the bully, the first thing he decided to do was a very flashy spinning backhand. He missed by a mile and was knocked out immediately. I felt really bad for him. He was always known for not being able to read situations very well, and that, being his first normal fight, was just the absolute worst time to try that move out. Bullies suck. It was embarrassing for both of them. I was watching a symphony orchestra concert at the Sydney Opera House one evening. The concert hall foyer has these huge glass windows beneath the sails that overlook the harbor side. The sun hadn't quite set yet, and every audience member that was exiting the hall could see this incredibly drunk middle-aged couple having sex on a bench outside the hall. What is a straight-up scam? I got a call from the same guy, twice. He said that he was taking donations for the family of a fallen Las Vegas police officer. I told him that I didn't have any money, and he said by not donating a warrant would be issued for my arrest. So I told him to come and get me. He called again the following week. Some people never learn. All gurus claiming to teach you how to make six-figure income if you buy their 30-day course. Mom saying she won't get mad if I tell her the truth. My old-ass mom almost got scammed out of $3,000 over the phone by someone claiming to be me. In the Navy, while my submarine was stationed in port, I climbed up out of it to make a few phone calls on the dock. No cell service inside a submarine. I was up there for about an hour. Right before I turn off my cell, to conserve battery, and head back down, I get a phone call from my mother. She says to me, "Mom, oh thank God I got a hold of you. Don't worry. The money is being transferred right now." Me, what money? What are you talking about? Mom, the money. For the accident. The wire transfer you just told me about. Me, what accident? I'm at work. Mom, you said you were in a car accident and the person you hit said they wanted $3,000 or else they would sue? Right? Are you okay? Me, Mom. I'm at work. I don't know what the hell you were talking about. Awkward silence. Me, Mom, did you just get scammed out of $3,000? Mom, oh shit. I have to go. I'll call you back. She was able to cancel the transfer because it was less than 30 minutes after initiation. The person claiming to be me claimed that they had messed up their jaw and couldn't talk right, which is why it didn't sound like me. Karma smiled on her/me that day. I was seconds away from turning off my phone. The International Star Registry. No, you can't really pay to name a star after someone. This is just a bullshit company selling bullshit certificates. College textbook prices. Subscription services to activate hardware and features in machines and devices you have purchased. Should be fucking illegal. Timeshares. Honestly don't know how the salesmen that try to push this crap can look themselves in the mirror. They should switch to a respectable job like selling meth to teenagers. Anything rent to own, such as Rent-A-Center for example. These type of stores prey on people with poor credit because they know they can't afford what they're buying otherwise. The entire contract for any item purchased is typically 3 to 4 times MSRP. My current manager used to be a GM for Rent-A-Center, and he told me that their goal was to target those with poor payment history, because they'd get at least what the item is worth prior to repossessing it, clean it, repurpose it, and then sell it as brand new. This was with anything too: electronics, furniture, appliances, etc. Also Ticketmaster. Fuck Ticketmaster. Academic publishing. Researchers paying $30 a paper to a publishing company that literally did nothing. Wedding stuff. Want a cake? $50. Oh, it's for a wedding? $500.